I wanted to speak from your perspective because you work more specifically with people that wear the salesperson hat.
Sure
What
do.
is the traditional self image that people that are in sales have of themselves? And how does that either support or hold them back from actually being the best they can be in their role?
Yeah, I'm going to tell a story here too that's in the book, but I'm going to answer that first. I think anybody that's in sales, especially when we talk about why we got into it, one of the things I explore in the book is what's your why? What are you playing for? Because I do think it's important as salespeople to center ourselves to, because we are going to have some hard days, but we're going to have some really fun, awesome days too. But, I think for me, um, I tell a story in the book. I'm going to tell two really brief ones. One is I'm a young guy. I'm working in the financial industry. I come home. I go car shopping with my sister and my dad, and this car salesman's doing everything right, asking problems. Oh, this is for your daughter. She's going off to school. It's a Volvo. It's going to be safe. Like he's doing everything right. My dad finally just looks at him and goes, "Why would I trust you? You're a car salesman." Oh, I still feel that right now. Like it just was kind of like a dagger. Like, what are you doing? This person's doing a great job, doing a service. He's solving this problem for my sister, and you hit him like that. And I think, for me at that moment, I mean, I still remember that. That was 20 to 30 years ago. So I think we all have head trash we need to get through because of TV, because of they're great movies like Glengarry Glen Ross, Wolf of Wall Street. Like those are powerful, entertaining movies, but it's not reality. And so I think for us, and I did tell you I would tell a second story, but I'll pause that in case we tell it later. But I think for me, a lot of us feel like if we're manipulate, like we're supposed to manipulate or convince or persuasion, how good of a persuader you are, and all of that to me is parlor tricks. That's not what you do. It's about true understanding. And I think any salesperson listening, if you could get real with yourself and say, why did you do this? It was probably to help people and help yourself too. But like you probably have a natural talent to connect with people and help them see a new reality. And that's what it's all about in my world.
I have to say, Carl, I feel like we're having a conversation in an echo chamber because, everything you're speaking about is
Yeah.
exactly what I'm speaking about as well. And what I like, the thing that I think, I want to highlight here from the audience that you work with and from your story is this whole idea that as a salesperson, there's a lot of your own, like, I think you call it head trash.
Yep.
And these stories that come up from these ideas that have happened, for you, you're talking about 20 years ago, and that sticks with us. And, people are very, very quick to take a jab at a salesperson. And so you
Exactly.
need to build that emotional resilience. You need to build that kind of self-trust, which I think can actually be quite emotional because you're very tied to performance. And, we have the greatest of dopamine highs when things go right and the biggest crashes when things might not go so right. And so what are some of the things that you suggest to people when it comes to regulating your emotions or maybe just understanding your emotion about this joyride of being a salesperson?
I am so glad you asked that. I think any human, the more self-aware you can be, are you being present? Are you getting pulled off of your center? And I think for some of us, we don't know it's happening, and others that might be really in tune with, I don't feel good, or I'm kind of dizzy, or gosh, I just feel like I'm being a jerk to my kids. What is wrong? I'm not a jerk. Those are like your dashboard, your control panel. It's lighting up. There's something going on. So I think the first thing with so many things like this is when you are having a tough time, just realize you're having a tough time. And, why is your control panel lighting up? What happened? Is it this thing that you said and you got misunderstood? I had a conversation with a client slash business partner yesterday, and I said something from the heart to him, and he reacted and took it very personally. And that was yesterday, and I'm still like a little sensitive about it because I care about him so much. But at least I know that's why I feel like a little edgy when I and have a little bit of still like unsettledness because I do care about him, and I was bringing forward my true self. I was being really authentic, and so I think I would just say part of the solution when you're having a rough day is recognizing and then finding the way that you rebuild. Maybe it's going on a walk, maybe it's yoga, maybe you work out, maybe you listen to music really loud, maybe you run outside and scream. But I think getting in tune with who you are and then working through that after you recognize it is part one. And part two, like I said, why are you doing this in the first place? What do you play for? There's a reason that's the first part of the book. And I think is we can get back to center of like, where are we going? Why are we going there? It fills us. And, the tough times can be really tough. I'll say one other thing. Good times are great, But I've also found this in my personal experience. When I am not hitting my quotas, when I'm not hitting the numbers, when revenue is getting a little scary, trust yourself, come up with a plan, work the plan, and just trust that you know what you're doing, and that you can play this game and you can play it well. And I always kind of just say, I just have to work my plan. I just have to work the funnel. I just have to stay really present in this, because sales is kind of a roller coaster some days.
It's a roller coaster, and I think we underestimate how much emotions and care we put into every transaction. And I know for, in your
Yes,
concept, you talk about being very like lifetime value mindset. That involves you giving a crap about the people you serve.
that is exactly
And
right.
that's exhausting. And like if you're going out, you're doing a lot of prospecting, you're doing research, it's like putting units of care towards every single person on that pipeline. And so what have you found are some of the key things that allows you to increase your capacity for caring more at scale without burning out?
Wow. I'm not sure I have a great answer off the top of my head for that, but I guess I would say, kind of like what we said already, like, why are you doing this? Getting a plan. And for me, I guess I am good. I do know the answer. For me, I get excited when I create an experience, when I have connection. Connection feeds me. And I think a lot of salespeople are like this, right? Now, it might be the rush, the fun. I won high fives around the office, but it also, I would bet it's also that connection with that other human being who had a problem, you solved it. And yeah, that you might have rung the bell because you're in a sales team and that's the culture you're in. But I think deep down, even if you're in a culture like that, it's about you made a difference. And so I find that when I kind of bottom out, the more experiences I can create for other people, my kids, my family, my wife, friends, a client, I can do something nice for them. I can do something thoughtful where I've changed their reality and they give me the energy back. So it's kind of 1 + 1 = 3. Then I start to fill my battery up faster and faster. So I don't know about other people, but for me, you got to find the thing that gets you excited again. And for me, it's being of service. It's thinking of something, sending somebody something, like making an introduction, getting more proactive about connection, and putting it out there so that it'll reflect back to me.
Yeah, I like that. I think for me, from my perspective, is the fact that when I'm dealing with the kind of client that is fun to do business with, and like that you see that they're actually having a problem that they're looking to solve, that becomes a very fun sales process, a fun conversation. You're like investigating. But there's also seems to be like the pressure for like hitting quotas, doing some, colder outreach, and you're not always dealing with, the most amazing potential clients. And so do you set some sorts of gateways or like, I don't know, a litmus test to limit how much care goes out if you're not feeling that it's reciprocated in the way that they're kind of connecting with you?
You know, I don't think I do, other than just being careful, but I will tell you, as you were talking, I thought of two conversations I had recently. One is a friend of mine that's been a sales coach and a contributor for years. And he's convinced that if he doesn't go to a coffee shop every morning and start a conversation in line, the rest of his day is tanked. He needs that rush of connection to start his day, just like he needs that caffeine. I have another friend, I was actually talking to him today, and he said, I get distracted easily. He goes, we kind of live in a distraction society. Phone, scrolling, it's distraction, distraction. He goes, I really believe momentum creates momentum. So the first thing I do is I get up in the morning, I start to connect with the people that I know want to talk to me. And then from there, I've got momentum to take through the rest of the day. So I think it gets back to, how do you want to be in it? But for me, I think it's trying to find the little wins everywhere. And I play for change. That's a big part of what I'm about. So it doesn't have to be I don't have to boil the ocean. As long as I'm starting to see a little bit of change here and there, it usually carries me forward, usually.
Yeah, I love that. And actually from that, I'm definitely going to take away the whole momentum thing is starting with your warmest leads so that at least motion starts and you got a bit of a smile on your face that kind of becomes contagious on your future conversations.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for listening to the Selling with Love podcast. We have some previous episodes you can tune into right here. And if you prefer the short form content where you get to the point in under 10 minutes, we do have a ton of clips from our best episodes that are being shared on this channel as well. So pick which one supports you the most. And of course, thank you for liking, subscribing, and of course, selling with love.